Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Can we talk about Gem and the Holograms? And I told you I was going to use the Daytona music. I did it. That's what we here at the Can We Talk About podcast. That's what we're about. We're about keeping promises and beating jokes into the ground, I guess, and not really analyzing as much as
of like last episode. I feel like we've been pretty good with gradually beating jokes into the ground with the previous episodes. Last week was a special exception.
A special exception due to the content of the episode driving us crazy.
And due to Homestar Runner.
Yeah. And, we're also kind of about not really analyzing, as much as fantasizing horrible injuries being inflicted on characters from an 80s cartoon. That 80s cartoon, of course, being, air quotes, classic Gem and the Holograms. And when it comes down to it, Swatage is really just two assholes yelling at a pink lady, and I ain't talking about Rizzo. I am asshole number 1. My name is Joe.
I'm asshole number 2. I'm Kristen.
All right, wonderful. Well, we are experiencing Gem and the Holograms via Shout Factory's Gem and the Holograms, a truly outrageous complete series box set, and the wonderful world of Netflix. Kristen, is Gem still on Netflix?
It is, and I would like to point out, you know what else is on Netflix?
What else is on Netflix?
Movie classic Grease.
Movie classic Grease.
I really feel like you're encroaching on my position as the person who makes the Grease references, so I want to take a little bit of the glory back.
I believe I referenced Grease Lightning at some point later, so with good reason, this being the car episode.
This is the Indy 500. It's not cool grease or street racing. Those are different things.
Yeah, whatever. They fix up a car, and that's why I said Grease Lightning.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
But anyway, yes.
You get to that point where it's... Oh man, I don't remember what the actual music sounds like for that part, but the... Good podcasting.
Just the claps. All right,
Just the claps.
This week, yes, it is the Indy 500. It is Intrigue at the Indy 500, which is, as I wrote in my notes here, an episode that tips the scale on how credible the events we see are, because... Woo!
Woof is right.
Keep in mind, Gem and Company eventually travel through time, so you gotta think, what happens in this episode must be fucking crazy if I'm like, I don't think this could happen, and they travel through time later.
Yeah, if you're trying to root what's happening, the events of the episode, too much in reality and things get wacky, then that's when you start to lose us.
It is, Kristen, simply, it is outrageous. It is even outra CEOs, I would call it.
Whoa.
But I guess it's something we're all going to have to experience together, so pardon the pun, but fasten your seatbelts, and let's get into high gear, and let's play some more Daytona music! This episode, Kristen, written by our good friend Roger Slifer of Last Resorts fame, Slifer the Sky Dragon, wrote a pretty good episode, I think, in Last Resorts. One of my favorites, probably, is Season 1.
Yeah, so how the mighty have fallen.
Clearly, Jesus. So we start on Pizzazz doing some classic Pizzazz things, some Pizzazic things, as she is throwing darts at a picture of Eric with, like, devil horns drawn on, but no, like, devil mustache, if I'm looking at it correctly.
I wonder if they can only lean so hard into the satanic imagery.
I would have also expected that it was a picture of Gem, but clearly Pizzazz is angry at Eric right now, and as she's throwing darts, she's going that, I want to go! Which they aren't terribly forthcoming with that information for the next 30 seconds or so. So it seems... at first,
I'm trapped in this cage!
At first, Pizzazz, it just seems like she wants to go outside.
Pizzazz is also wearing a sick smoking jacket that has a P on it.
That sweet P for... Well, okay, I guess it's for Phyllis. I was going to say that sweet P that's totally in her name.
Pizzazz starts with a P, Joe.
I know Pizzazz, but Pizzazz isn't her name.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. For a split second, I thought you were saying, like, there's only a P in Phyllis, not in Pizzazz. I was like, have you seen the word Pizzazz spelled?
No, it's a Q, right? I think so. Kazazz?
I think, yeah.
Pizzas.
Pizzazz. Pizzas.
Qdoba. Anyway.
What a beautiful name.
We've got Roxy commenting that Pizzazz missed the bullseye, and I guess everybody's eating breakfast because Roxy's talking with her mouth full again.
Yeah, they're all just hanging out, shoving food straight into their maws. I think Stormer is actually cooking because she has higher standards.
You're right, yes, Stormer is making eggs because Pizzazz immediately goes over to grab one, and because she missed all of the bullseyes with the darts, she just throws an egg at the picture of Eric right as actual Eric walks in, and the egg hits his face, and that's our introduction to Eric in this episode.
Yep,
literal
Safari
egg on his
Eric
face.
gets egg on his face. Because he is Safari Eric right now.
He is Safari Eric, which unfortunately he doesn't stay as Safari Eric for the entire episode.
No, which is depressing. He needs to turn into shady mafia business Eric?
Yeah, I'm not sure what hat Eric is wearing in this episode. I don't know who he's supposed to be working for or anything. It doesn't really matter. The egg also makes no noise when it hits his face, really, which...
It was a soft-boiled egg.
Please. Apparently the thing that Pizzazz wants to go to is a dinner party for race car drivers. I guess for the Indy 500. I don't know if they specified or if it's just for race car drivers. And Eric was invited to it, but the Misfits were not, and it is by invitation only, so...
Stormer very innocently is like, why aren't we invited? Like there aren't 100 reasons.
Also, Eric, he wipes the egg from his face with the thing, and then when he grabs the picture from the dartboard, the back of the door, he wipes egg on the picture for some reason.
He is giving his photo self, his Harry Potter photographed photo self, an egg face mask.
Sure. It's the latest rage in de-aging, I guess, egg on your face.
Absolutely. So Eric has some shady business that he's going into at the party. So that's why he doesn't want the Misfits there, but Pizzazz and Roxy really want to play the victory party. And Eric's like, you will.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's what Eric's whole thing is, that he wants the Misfits to... The Misfits want to play the victory party at the Indy 500, and I'm assuming that whatever we see, the shady business that we see Eric doing is so they can play... We don't get to the victory party in this episode, by the way. And it's not coming back. The episode just kind of ends with the end of the race, so, spoiler alert, the Misfits can't play the victory party because it doesn't happen.
And nothing good ever happens to the Misfits.
No, that too. Eric doesn't want the Misfits there because, he needs to do some business, but Pizzazz doesn't understand. She just wants to party.
Oh, no, she wants to kill people. She succeeds in doing that later, so her night goes fine.
She very nearly kills a lot of people in this episode.
Day at the office.
A normal day for old Phyllis Gabor. Work. Oh, I just put a bunch of letters in my notes by hitting my keyboard.
That's what you get for trying to do that Foley work.
Okay, where was I? So we fade to a dinner party. The dinner party that Eric was going to, I guess. Cars hanging from the ceiling. Seems kind of dangerous.
Yeah, and pop stars hanging from the ceiling, as we will find out in a couple minutes.
Eric is we're introduced to two characters here, although we don't see a man I referred to as Mustache Evilman in my notes, because I don't think he is named throughout the episode.
I don't think so either. If he is, there's way too many named characters for us to keep track of all of them.
Right, but yeah, we are introduced to this man, Mustache Evilman's, his very own zipper, as I refer to him through my notes.
His XL zipper.
His XL zipper. His name is Vice. And we hear him basically crushing every bone in Eric's hand when he shakes it, but I just refer to him as Mustache Evilman's zipper for the rest of the episode.
Why didn't you call him Gripper?
Oh my god! Damn it, Kristen!
I didn't have my notes either, but I did just come up with that right now.
Jesus.
So Gripper
Well, now he's going to be Gripper for the rest of the episode.
Yay!
So Gripper is shaking Eric's hand, and Eric is like, the pressure, pleasure is all mine, which, haha, your hand is broken now.
The way Eric behaves in the scene, he is such an amateur doing shady shit, you would never think he just did it in the last episode.
Yeah,
he's going around like, I bribed these people, and, so we're not gonna go to jail, right?
Eric I'm agree with you, Kristen. Eric is on complete amateur hour mode for this episode for some reason.
His faith was shaken.
After last episode, yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, Gripper is psyching him out.
But, Mustache Evilman, he doesn't want to hear the details about all of Eric's bribery and things like that, not at this fancy dinner party. He instead wants to know, what are you going to do about famous race driver Martino Granzetti?
Ooh, Granzetti, I don't think is a real Italian last name.
It sounds Italian enough. It's close, it's I don't know.
There's 2 Z's in it. Of course it's Italian.
Martino is a guy that apparently always wins, but Eric bribed his sponsor to stop giving funding, so he's out of the race this year. Oh well.
Yeah, good thing nothing could possibly happen that could change that.
So Eric, I don't really know what this evil plan is because we aren't really getting too many details on it. Mustache Evilman gives Eric a briefcase full of money.
Yeah, in the middle of this party, he just slaps it right on the table, like, we're on the level!
And then Eric gives the briefcase full of money to a guy in a used car salesman's suit, who is, I guess, his bookie, named Harry.
Very trustworthy.
Harry Trustworthy.
Harry Trustworthy. Here's my card.
Used car salesman Harry Trustworthy.
That's a really good name. I mean, is his middle name Trustworthy too?
Harry Trustworthy, given all of Eric's money to put all of it on car number 007, which has no connection to anything. It's just a cool sounding car name, I guess.
So I guess we can put together enough pieces to think their plan is to rig the bet, basically, to get good odds and then make a lot of money.
It must be, because yeah, Harry says car number 007 pays 10-1, and as Harry is leaving, Gripper threatens to grip Harry if he steals the money, and Harry's like, oh no, I got a hot dog stand! I'm gonna be right at the race!
That's an excuse for some reason.
I mean, I guess it's just a setup that we see him at the hot dog stand later.
Yeah, and he's like, I won't run away with the cash, because I'll be there, you'll be able to see me.
And then Eric rubs his hands together evilly, which means this plot is complete. It's gonna be fucked right out of the gate, because Eric's just like, aha, all the pieces are in place. No, because immediately,
nothing could ever possibly interrupt this. Oh no! Yeah, I think he actually says nothing can stop us now, and then I wrote, except Gem and the Holograms.
A man on stage appears, I guess, and he explains, hey, so we all know that Martino Granzetti's sponsor pulled out of the race, and that's just, oh, what unfortunate luck, but... And then Eric is just like, oh, fuck.
This is a like, flip-flopped look at, like, you know, oh, Gem, we're just trying to do something good, wow, you know, oh, we're totally just having fun, and oh no, nothing could ruin this, but the Misfits, oh no, how'd they get here? Except it's Gem this time. So it's like Eric's worst nightmare.
Honestly, it's like it's both parties acting independent of each other and running across each other happens, I feel like, so many times throughout the series.
Yeah, and it's fun to see it being Gem kind of crashing the party with their do-gooding for once. Right,
yeah, and yeah, Starlight Music is the new sponsor of Martino Granzetti's car, which is also called the Starlight Special now, I believe, I don't know if it's at this point, whatever. They come down
I think they do call it that, yeah.
Yeah, they come down with the car from, like, a star platform that was hanging in the rafters somewhere.
We were in the ceiling the whole time!
Ha 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 ha, look at this car!
How'd we get up there? We're so hungry.
Yes, and Eric looks rightfully shocked/pissed because fucking...
Surprise, Eric!
Eric literally can't do anything. Last week it was just like, you know what? Let's move away from the music for a bit. Let me try and do some real estate work. Fucking Gem and the... Let me just do some racing. Gem and the Holograms aren't going to touch... God damn it!
Leave me alone!
And here's where we get song number 1 of the evening, I'm Coming From Behind.
No, thank you. Please, no.
Wow, that was a song, wasn't it, Kristen?
Like, in the very most literal sense. Yes, it was. This is one of the episodes that we cheated and watched fairly recently. Same as Old Meets New, that was that same little chunk of time. And we forgot about this song completely, and I don't know how we did. Because, man, the double entendre on this song is rough.
It doesn't help that, like, car terminology is often used as double entendre for sex, so I'm sure it's just
also
like...
Jem's, like, shimmying toward the camera with her, like, weird starfish shoulder fringe things the whole time. It's like, no, Jem, stay away. No, don't go behind me. Stay where I can see you.
It's one of those things where whoever writes the songs is probably just like, let's write a car song for the car episode, and then just putting it in there. They didn't realize all of the fucking double entendre and euphemisms that they might have accidentally put in there.
Yeah.
All the lyrical content aside, there's balloons falling everywhere. As you mentioned, all of the holograms actually have on really kind of shitty-looking long dresses with, like, starfish shoulder pads.
It's like they started to design dresses and then gave up midway through.
It's weird. You rarely see outfits on people in this show that are all just one flat color, like, other than the shoulder pads.
Or one flat texture.
Or one flat Yeah, you're right, because it's not even textured at all.
Fringe doesn't count.
We get several shots of Martino looking hopeful and Mustache Evilman and Eric looking pissed, as they should. Jem does a thing to Eric in this song, which, again, she's singing I'm coming from behind here, and she taps Eric. She does the old switcheroo-y, tap Eric on one shoulder and then move to the other side of him so he looks to his left, but she's at the right, and then, yeah, this is when the camera pans to Jem and she's all, like, shimmying and shit, and it's like, oh god, please.
Yeah, I wrote Eric is like, they're behind me.
Please don't come from behind. Please, God.
Please, no. This song's terrible also. It's like, cars. Cars. Cars.
Shift into high gear. Yeah, car. Wait a minute, this sounds a lot like sex.
Uh-oh. We didn't think this through in the 80s.
Well, I think we could say, we could probably say that about a lot of things in Jem here.
That's true. Also, this has nothing to do with the song, but the Gemstar earrings look like they got too hot and started getting stretched out in a couple of shots. They just look like they melted some.
There's some awkward animation in this episode. It's definitely not the best. We'll see later in this scene, actually, something very awkward in terms of the frame moving, but characters not moving, which is my favorite kind of animation error. Like, one that blatantly obvious.
This episode, across the board, has some weird animation stuff.
I mean, I'm Coming From Behind is a really sort of nothing video because it's just literally... All of the songs in this episode are kind of short.
Yeah, shorter than usual.
They don't give you a lot of content to work with because literally all Jem does in the video is, they're lowered on, like, the star bridge. She walks over, taps Eric on the shoulder, goes back on stage, and that's basically the end of the song.
Yeah, there's, like, some weird background textures with, like, star repeats. And that's, like, the only thing that's making it look different than them just performing in this room full of people. Right.
And yeah, it's a boring video, but the title and lyrical content of this song, especially compared to the other two songs this episode are, even though I'd still call it a middling Gem and the Holograms song, it gets extra points for being really stupid, but...
Unintentionally hilarious?
Unintentionally hilarious, yes. It's certainly not the best Gem and the Holograms song.
I think it's the appropriate pick for this weird-ass episode.
Exactly. So we cut to the Misfits, who are outside. Pizzazz is wearing her Starbright Starburst dress, and Roxy has her hair seaweed.
Oh yeah, ready to party with that hair seaweed.
Pizzazz also takes crashing the party a little too literally, because she plots to steal the Rockin' Roadster and literally crash the party.
Pizzazz decides that the Misfits are going to kill a bunch of people because they weren't invited to a party, like Sleeping Beauty, but with murder instead of sleep.
We cut back to inside the club. Martino arrives to talk to Jem, and he's like, wow, that song was a little sexual for an auto club, wasn't it?
And Jem goes, what? She has no idea what he's talking about.
But actually, no, Martino is like, I want to thank you, Jem, and Jerica. Where is she? Which, I don't know why they set up things like this when... I mean, does Jerica shows up later in the episode.
Yeah, but there's no, like, switcheroo stuff going on. I guess it's just another, like, here's a line of dialogue so that Jem can coyly be like, oh, Jem's around, or Jerica is around here somewhere.
She even messes up. Like, oh, yeah, Jem, yeah. Jerica, she's, yeah. But yeah, luckily
it's like in the Team Star Kid production Holy Musical Batman. Batman is constantly going, I'm Bruce Man, I mean Batwayne.
Perfect.
That's
yes,
what Jem does.
This is yes. It's God damn it. But luckily, we don't get the switcheroo or a hologram Jerica because the Misfits arrive, crashing the Rockin' Roadster into this auto club. We don't see how they started it. I'm gonna assume that Roxy hotwired it, or they just left the keys in there.
Jem definitely left the keys in there.
It's a miracle that Pizzazz doesn't hit anyone, because
We don't see her hit anyone.
We don't see Pizzazz hit anyone, but I have an odd feeling that Pizzazz definitely hit somebody.
Oh yeah, someone died there. At least one person. There was too much chaos for it to not go bad.
Martino gets in a car that's on the showroom floor, or like a show car. It's like a car on top of a raised platform, which I assume just means it's there for show and can't actually be run.
Nope, but the keys are in it.
The keys are in it too, yeah, and it has gas, thankfully. So he starts up this car and starts like chasing after the rocket. There are two, I don't know how big this auto club is, but there are two people in cars chasing after each other. It's really huge, I guess. But yeah, here's where the animation error happens, where the Rockin' Roadster hits a sweet jump, and the holograms are all in the foreground of the frame, and the background and the Rockin' Roadster move, but the holograms don't really move with them, so it looks like they're standing in front of a projection or something, kind of.
Nice. Sometimes reality doesn't feel that real. Especially when you're in a cartoon that's animated poorly.
Roxy goes, "Pizzazz, look out!" And they crash into the kitchen. And they don't suffer any injuries either.
No, but they don't feel like animating all of the sound effects that are going on back there, because we just get a still shot of the door for a little bit, and everyone kind of being like, ouch, what's going on in there? And then these chefs that double as security escort the Misfits out. Some buff chefs.
Is this like the cameraman in Rio on Lindsay's show playing security?
Yeah, basically. You look like you have some arm muscles. Take these Misfits out.
And the Misfits also got spaghetti all over them somehow. No sauce or anything, just spaghetti.
And I think there were some meatballs in there, too.
Oh, okay.
But Pizzazz calls them savages as they're getting pulled out.
The Savage Chef coming to Food Network this summer. The Misfits also implicate Eric as they're being taken away, which has him thrown out on his ass with them. Thanks.
Yep, yeah, there's some bad animation of all of them literally getting thrown out, except we don't see that part, just them hopping as if they were thrown and going, whoa, whoa, whoa!
Eric does land on his face, however.
Oh, good, you have to keep the moneymaker.
Eric should probably have punched Pizzazz in the face for this, because they did exactly what he did not want them to do, but instead he just has a begrudging, sort of sarcastic, "Thanks, Pizzazz."
And she goes, "I'm not speaking to you."
Yeah, thanks. Cool. Missed the point completely, Pizzazz.
She doesn't care. As if she cares.
I'm gonna assume that Pizzazz is an even worse version of the Fonz and just can't say... Like, the Fonz has trouble saying "I'm sorry," Pizzazz literally can't say it. It is impossible for her to say "I'm sorry."
Have you ever watched Happy Days?
I haven't watched Happy Days, Kristen!
Why do you keep referencing it then?
I don't even know if that's a correct reference. I just know that it's something like that.
I have no way to fact check that for you. Can we Google it?
He can't admit he's wrong? I don't remember what it was. Something like that.
Does the Fonz have trouble admitting he's wrong? Words the Fonz can't say.
Please.
It's a YouTube video. I'm going to click it.
Please click it. Please indulge me, because I want to make sure my reference is correct.
Okay, it's loading. It's a Daily Motion deal.
Oh, wow. Not even a YouTube video.
No. Well, the top result was one word. I was WRGN1.FLV.
Oh, well, there we go.
Oh, that does say the Fonzie finds it difficult to say I was wrong. Ralph Mouth. I'll click on that one. That's 2 minutes long. Okay, let's see.
It's good to know. I'm.
Okay, so Ralph has some kind of poster that's black and white of himself, I think. The Fonz says he's not going to hang them up anywhere. I know what I told you to do. Oh, okay. He goes, I know what I told you to do, but I was...
So I was close enough.
He physically cannot say that he was wrong.
Correct, okay. So, it wasn't "I'm sorry." Excuse me, Pizzazz. Then let me retread my reference here. Pizzazz is like the Fonz, where she can't admit she's wrong. Not that she can't say she's sorry. Just wanted to clarify for everyone here. We looked it up live.
All that research was worth it.
Okay, back to the action. Where were we?
Oh, were we somewhere? Well, I believe the Mustache Evilman is not convinced at all that Eric has it covered after that shit show.
Right, yeah. Mustache Evilman tells Gripper to go and cover up some loose ends that Eric seems to have forgotten, to which we cut to Gasoline Alley, and we see Gripper grip a tire and rip it off of Martino's car, basically.
Oh yeah, his hands are so strong, but I guess the overlying logic here is, they cannot race if their car is taken apart.
Right, he breaks a spring on the wheel. I don't know anything about cars, so he does something to the wheel well or something. I don't know. He does something that makes it so the car don't run good no more later, even though Martino still gets fucking first place in his qualifying lap.
Yeah, he broke it in such a specific way that it didn't get messed up until after he finished his qualifying time. Just in time to also include Rio in the casualties.
Well, that's the thing. So we cut to Martino doing his qualifying lap. Gem and Company are on the grass instead of in the stands. Presumably because they're his sponsors, I guess. Even then,
we're on the track.
They probably should be in the stands. And Rio's up on a tower taking pictures.
Yeah, Rio is somehow in a worse and more dangerous vantage point than Gem of the Hologram, so good job. He deserves to get killed by that car.
That's a first, I think, in Gem of the Hologram's history.
And it's not a very good-looking piece of scaffolding either. It is one of those things that you look at it and go, oh, this is going to be rammed into in this cartoon.
Martino sets a speed record as he gets first place with his qualifying lap, but then the car goes out of control and crashes into Rio's tower, and we see him falling down, and I noticed that as everything is falling down, he set up a light in the middle of broad daylight as he's taking pictures of this car.
Do you think as he's falling, he's reaching romantically for the light that he set up, going, no!
Take me, but not the light!
Please, it's my favorite one. That's why I brought it with me here.
That's why I set it up.
Since when is he a photographer?
He's a jack of all trades.
He wants press pictures. Do you think, Joe, if you went to the Indy 500 and stood up on a scaffolding because someone let you for some reason and you took pictures, do you think people would buy them?
If I was the boyfriend of somebody's sponsor, yes.
Okay, that's fair.
End of segment 1. Rio is finally in danger of being dead. I believe for the first time, right?
I think so, maybe. But we fade straight to the intensive care unit.
Right. And segment 2 starts, Jericho opening the door of the intensive care unit, finding a man in basically a full-body cast. And we are meant to assume it's Rio, even though he's quite a bit more tan than Rio.
Yeah. Jericho is just overcome. And for a split second decides that she forgot what Rio looks like. So she's like, oh no, Rio. But Martino don't really give a shit.
No, Martino's actually... He doesn't say very much in this episode, and I believe this is the only episode he's in, but he's very... he doesn't really... He's almost nihilistic with his approach to basically everything, it seems. Other than...
It doesn't matter if I die, Jericho.
Other than determination to catch the misfits in the last segment, it's... Basically, he's just like, it happens. You nearly die. You're a race car driver. It's the kind of shit you deal with.
Yep, he says, it only hurts when I breathe.
Which, yes, he seems to be in good spirits despite his fucking terrible everything broken.
Rio seems to be doing fine, too.
Rio somehow managed to escape this with just a broken leg, somehow. And his contribution to the conversation is, it only hurts when I play football, which I don't think makes very much sense.
I don't think so either. So, Jericho, again, over sympathy and smooches him, and Rio, the jackass, is like, wow, remind me to be in a car crash every week. Like, what?
I took this as Rio is getting no attention from Jericho, so finally it takes him to get into the hospital to get a kiss from her, and he's just like, oh god, please let me suffer more pain so I could get better companionship out of my girlfriend.
How does this scene happen? And then later, Rio decides he's gonna full mouth kiss Gem. Think that bump on the head fucked up his priorities a little bit?
I didn't even think about that.
Yep. It's really making backward progress from Island of Deception.
It's becoming increasingly common for Rio to just open mouth kiss Gem, and I'm just like, that's fine. I see no problem with this. Joe.
It's not okay. There is a problem.
No, I don't even notice it anymore. It's so common.
They do continue their conversation, though. I think Jericho seems pretty convinced that Eric and the Misfits had something to do with this, and I believe Rio says it's not his style, and I don't understand that at all. It's not?
Well, you gotta think, Eric and Rio probably spent a lot of time on the boat together during Island of Deception, and...
You think Eric was super drunk and he was like, well, you know what I would never do to you guys? It's mess up your car at the Indy 500 and accidentally almost kill Rio.
I hope that it would have been something like, you know what I never would do? I'd never try to kill Gem and the Holograms, to have Rio just go, you have already. You've tried to kill them a lot.
Okay, let me list the specific ways I would not try to kill Gem and the Holograms then. What have I done already? Give me those. We'll start out that way.
You nearly ran everybody over with bulldozers, even though that didn't happen yet.
Eric? Oh, no, I was thinking of the first 5 episodes when it's Roxy that does that. No, Eric does that too.
A lot of bulldozer-related death in Gem. Who would have known?
Yep, you tried with a bomb once and then decided you didn't want to try with a bomb another time because it wasn't your idea that time. There are too many to list.
Yep, and also when Jerrica accuses Eric, she slams the flowers in her hand against the vase, destroying them immediately.
Yeah, so she is just so angry that she doesn't give a shit about those flowers she brought for her boyfriend. This is why Rio kisses Gem later.
This is why Rio was like, please get me in a car crash every week. Because, again, at the end of this scene here, she gives him the fucking dead flowers, basically, and it's just like, oh, these are for you.
It's hilarious. Hot dogs in the sand.
Also, basically, Rio is like, hey, car's broken, driver's nearly dead. Don't worry about it. But because this is a cartoon, Jerrica's like, no. I'm gonna enter the Indy 500 myself in a car that's not broken.
Well, my favorite thing is that they don't actually get to that part yet. They're just like, we'll definitely fix the car. And then it's after they fix the car that Gem decides that she is going to drive, which is a hilarious scene, but we're not quite there yet.
Also, yes, here is where Rio gets the destroyed flowers, and I have in my notes here, they represent how Kristen feels about you.
It's true, except I would give him a dead bouquet of roses, because then they would have thorns and they would prick his hands also.
With bees in them.
Bees in them. Thorns
with bees in them.
Covered in honey.
And then a bear breaks into the hospital and kills Rio.
I brought the bear! Ha! It was a very elaborate bear-based trap.
It cost a lot of money to rent him. Please don't hurt him. I want my down payment back.
It was worth it!
So we fade to Gasoline Alley at this point. Everybody is wearing the most horrible overall suspender clothing possible. It is I
wrote, does everyone have their fashion overalls on? Good!
I wonder if it was just like, Shayna, we're going to be going to the Indy 500. We need you to design something for everybody. And she's just like, overalls.
Yep. Usually overalls are used because it's okay if stuff gets on them, because denim is a, pretty hardy material. They're wearing fashion overalls, so they're not going to have the same effect besides the look, really.
We see the car is fucking destroyed, basically, here, and Jerrica is just like, yeah, let's fix the car, and Kimber's like, Jerrica, the race is in fucking 3 days, there's no way we can fix this car.
But lucky for them, they know a excellent mechanic. They have a friend that is an excellent mechanic. Is it Aja? No.
Aja raises her hand, and then Jerrica goes, it's auto mechanic time, Synergy!
And Aja puts her hand down, and then she realizes that they haven't written that character trait for her yet.
That's really one of my biggest problems with this episode, is this seems much more suited to be almost everything that Gem does in this episode. If it were Aja doing it, I feel like I'd be a bit more okay with it.
Yeah, this could have been an Aja episode and it could have been really cool, but nope. Also, maybe this is supposed to be the spark for Aja's interest in mechanics, and behind the scenes now when she's not talking, she's actually learning things.
That's another thing. Does Aja say anything in this episode?
Nope, not that I know of.
Is that becoming, it seems like it's becoming a common thread for me every episode to ask, does Aja/Shayna say anything in this episode?
So, they decide that Synergy is going to project a blueprint of what the car is supposed to look like for them, and somehow, without directions, that's enough for people who've never fixed a car before to put together a car.
Yeah, I like how when Jerrica goes, it's auto mechanic time, Synergy appears, we get our first look at Purple Olivia Newton-John in a few episodes, and she's just kind of sitting there like, what? Like, what do you want from me?
Auto what, Jerrica?
I can make a hologram car.
You won't be able to drive it unless you want me to put a hologram you in there, too. If you want to cheat with holograms, talk to me later. We'll cheat with some holograms.
Wouldn't that have been fun, where Pizzazz tries to drive through a hologram Starlight Special and ends up crashing herself?
Whoa, that, you know what? I think a hologram car driven by a hologram person, like, oh, we'll set it so it goes at the same pace as his qualifying time. I would have liked that. I would have appreciated that more than Jim winning the Indy 500.
Spoiler alert, Jim wins the Indy 500.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to ruin it for you guys. Spoiler alert, Pizzazz also drives in the Indy 500.
Oh, yes, I had said that, but okay. So we get to, the blueprints are here, and I guess they're gonna fix the car, and we're gonna forego it's time for a montage song, and it is back in shape.
It's one of those fun songs, more than once in the series, where they use, we gotta work hard at this thing, to parallel a person who is injured is also getting physical therapy.
Yes, which does happen often.
Amazingly, yeah, they use that card more than once.
I hate this song, by the way. It's I don't like the hook that it has at all. I also confused it with Getting Down to Business. I'm pretty sure when Getting Down to Business played in, I think it was Kimber's Rebellion, I had said, like, I think this song shows up in the Daytona USA episode, the Indy 500 episode, whatever. But I'm wrong. It is this song, and I like this song less than Getting Down to Business.
Yeah, I do too.
To which I have in my notes, I prefer Getting Down to Business to this song. Actually, I wish the song was Greased Lightning.
Yeah, the tone of the episode would be a lot different if they were saying the things that they say in the song Greased Lightning.
The Starlight Special, woo, real pussy wagon, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. We'll be getting lots of tit in the Starlight Special.
So all of this song is basically, it's the holograms fixing up the wrecked car, doing fixy things to it. Synergy is like throwing around hologram blueprints, like making them more detailed into smaller parts, like she has fucking Iron Man's hologram computer thing that he has in those movies.
She is Jarvis.
Oh, of course. So she gets to be Vision. Nice.
Yeah, so I didn't really write too many notes for the song, but I did write things like Synergy thumbs up, and Rio pets and physical therapy. It's like the absolute basics of what visuals we're seeing in this song.
We have Kimber at one point welding very close to Aja and Jerrica. I'm not a welding expert. She does have the mask on, but I would think that Aja and Jerrica probably need to be farther away.
Well, how will they learn if they're not crowded right around her?
How will they learn if they don't get set on fire by a blowtorch?
It's like when you first get a taser, you need to get tased by it first. In order to use a blowtorch, you need to be lit on fire. Kimber gets a pass because she doesn't have any skin because she was in a volcano.
There we go. So she already knows what that feels like.
Yep, so she's good. That's why she's the one doing it.
Taking it nice and slow is one of the lyrics, but they only have 3 days, so they can't take it nice and slow.
Yeah, I guess that's like, we're trying to make ourselves feel better. Like, don't freak out, don't freak out, don't freak out.
Oh, also, I should say, just in case for the people who might not actually watch the episodes here or listen to the songs, the ones that we don't play, the hook in this song is a very fast, gotta get it back in shape, and I hate the way that sounds.
They just repeat that.
Yes.
Over and over and over.
And yeah, it's really,
yeah, it's not great.
Yes, and as you were saying, helping Rio out, we get a scene of Jerrica helping Rio on his crutches, and I have in my notes here, if his leg is somehow healed in 3 days, I'm going to be more than a little mad. But thankfully...
Good thing it isn't, yes.
By the end of the episode, Rio is still on crutches, so good job, Roger Slifer.
By the end of this one song, the car is finished, though, and Synergy does a cool backflip after giving a little okay sign with her hand, like she's in a swimming pool or something, and then she disappears.
Yeah, she's also floating above the car right before the last shot before doing her sweet backflip, okay spin, flying into infinity and beyond, goodbye forever.
Yeah, and she doesn't even, like, disappear in a cool way. She just, her opacity bar slides all the way down, and she just disappears in holding one single pose that they didn't animate anymore.
They just spun the frame and, turned down the opacity.
Yep.
Well, it's sunset now. I guess they said it's the day, or it could be morning, I guess, because they said that the race is in a few hours, right?
Yep, so good job.
I don't know, the sky was colored like it was sunset, but Rio's still on a crutch.
I haven't slept in hours, time to drive.
Rio assumed he would be the alternate as well for Martino, which is almost almost as laughable as Jem being like, well, no, I'll drive.
Yeah, what I wrote was, Rio assumed that he was going to be next in line to drive. Nice try, idiot.
Jem is also wearing her racist suit, her racist race suit, her race suit.
Awesome. Good thing that's coming in handy again.
When she is like, "Oh no, I thought I could drive," she kind of like mugs for the camera as well while she's doing it, which is
which makes the entire audience go, "Excuse me, you're going to what?"
And thus this pink-haired woman with no prior training is going to drive in the Indy 500.
Yep.
And here's where I'm like, well, wait a minute. Aja drives the Rockin' Roadster. Shouldn't she be the one driving?
Yep.
But wait a minute. I thought she's like a handyman tomboy type.
Yep. Too bad.
Damn it.
Aja should be seen and not heard.
So we fade to race time. Eric and the Misfits are in the stands, and he points out car number 007. Pizzazz has these weird binoculars with like a cat-eye glasses on the end of them.
Joe, you made a mistake. Amazing isn't pronounced like word weird.
Excuse me.
They're great binoculars.
She has amazing everybody else has normal binoculars except for Pizzazz.
She has pizzazz binoculars.
And this is the only time we see them looking through those binoculars as well, because they don't get better seats. They have pretty good seats already, it looks like.
Their eyes get better.
For some reason, literally all of the cars line up before the Starlight Special lines up, because they have to have the moment where it's like, hey, Stormer's like, hey, what's that empty position at the front of the pack? And Eric's like, oh, that's the pole position where Martino Granzetti would be. And then Jem drives up in the Starlight Special, so he could be like, oh, fuck!
This is another one of those episodes where I felt the need to write down that if they cannot show up on time, they shouldn't be allowed to participate.
This is, yes, I would think sort of, because that's the thing, you would think the shot that we get of all the cars with the pole position one empty, it looks like they're all like up against the wall. And Jem
Jem would have need to drive to the front of the pack, throw it into reverse, and back up into that empty space. I don't think that's how they would want her to do that.
Whatever. Okay, so even Eric is like, Jem's driving in the Indy 500? What the fuck?
Yes, she is. And within seconds, Stormer is like, I have a bad feeling about this, Eric.
Yeah, she's like, does this mean we're not going to be able to play the victory party?
She knows what's up.
The race begins, and to my surprise, this, they're actually kind of following protocol here with the first few laps or whatever being done behind the pace car, which is kind of like the caution car. It's just so everybody's driving at a safe speed or whatever. They're doing like warm-up laps or some shit, which you'd think every other piece of media ever would just be like, okay, ready, go! This kind of happens from time to time. Like, I remember, I don't know, how much experience Christy Marks has with film sets or anything, but I remember, when we were talking about the Starbright episodes, how detailed they were with at least, like, stunt people and stunts and shit like that, but,
But this seems like a ridiculous amount of detail to a point.
That's the thing. It's... that makes it even worse when it's so rooted in realism and Jem wins.
And the Rockstar wins! Yay!
So, yeah, as soon as the race starts, also, Jem, starting from pole position is definitely a advantageous place to start, but Jem is also, like, she's fucking killing it. She's winning, and this is where Eric starts, like, sweating it and is being like, oh, fuck, I gotta do something about this. He looks behind him to see Mustache Evilman and Gripper, I guess, like, threateningly looking at him.
Well, yeah, they're not giving him a friendly, hey, how's it going look.
No, I think they should be just as shocked as Eric, considering, they saw it happen. I'm sure they saw it happen too, or at least heard the story that Martino Granzetti fucking nearly died in a car crash.
So, like, this, if you think about it, is actually kind of Mustache Evilman and Gripper's own failings coming back to bite them, because they're the ones who sabotaged the car in the first place.
Right, so they shouldn't be looking at Eric angrily, but whatever. This evil glare is enough for Eric to be like, I'm gonna go get a hot dog. And Pizzazz asks for a hot dog with mustard. Please don't forget the mustard, Eric. For the love of God, please give Pizzazz a hot dog with mustard.
I feel really comforted by the fact that Pizzazz eats hot dogs with mustard and not ketchup.
I like a hot dog with mustard. Definitely more than a hot dog with ketchup.
Yeah, that's a contentious thing on the East Coast, so we're on a certain side of things.
So Eric heads up to the hot dog stand where Harry is, Harry Hot Dog, or whatever we called him, Harry Trustworthy.
Harry Trustworthy. That's a Harry Trustworthy Hot Dog.
Harry Trustworthy Hot Dog. Trustworthy is his... Please, Trustworthy was my father's name.
Call me Hot Dog.
When we see Harry, he's giving a lady a hot dog free of charge, which makes me wonder if because he's also a bookie, or he just might be mainly a bookie, if this is even his hot dog stand.
Yeah, I also don't think they would actually do this in a cartoon for children, but the way he leans over the counter and looks at this lady as she's walking away really makes it look like he's staring at her ass.
Well,
I'm just saying.
They want to drive home how trustworthy Harry Trustworthy Hot Dog is, I guess.
How quote-unquote trustworthy.
How air quotes, in the mafia sense, or whatever, in the shady bad guy sense, trustworthy he is.
It would be a shame if something happened to how trustworthy I am.
Eric is all acting all, like, sheepish and shit, too, around him, like, hey, Harry, do you mind? I kind of need to change my bet.
But Harry gets a commission on every bet, so he's like, yeah, change your bet, just give me another commission.
And, yeah, he just gives him a wad of cash, and Harry hands him a hot dog bun with a receipt in it. Eric changes his bet to Jem, by the way, so, which, I mean, I understand why he changes it later, but he should know at this point how often Jem wins. He should have known.
He shouldn't have changed it back later. This was the correct decision, and then he walks it back, and then he tries to walk it back again. He has a lot of flippy-floppy episode.
A lot of flip-flop in this episode. Eric is, like, humming happily as he goes back to the seat.
It's creepy.
It is kind of creepy, and he hands Pizzazz the bun, to which she comments, not only did you forget the mustard, you forgot the hot dog!
There's paper in here.
And immediately Pizzazz sees Jem's presence in this race as a threat, and she runs down to the pit area, which, if only Eric got her the hot dog, maybe she wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah, she would have been distracted by thinking about dead animals. Also, people in the crowd are going, Jem, 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 and I'm like, they should be going, why is Jem here?
I thought she was just a sponsor.
Nope, she drive. Yeah, but Pizzazz is frustrated with the way things are going, so she goes down to the 007 car, and as it is at the pit stop, and forcibly pulls the driver out, and decides, nope, Pizzazz is gonna drive.
She shows quite considerable strength, grabbing this man and basically deadlifting him out of the car.
She's angry, so she
she's,
channels all of her anger into her arms.
She's got that devil strength.
Absolutely.
It's a good thing her fucking poison barb elbows didn't come out and kill the guy.
We don't know that.
That's true. That driver is never named. For all we know, he could have died right there.
Yeah, we wouldn't have known, because Pizzazz causes so many crashes when she starts to drive that a lot of those people are probably dead.
Also, another thing, when they stop for the pit stop, the holograms are Jem's pit crew. They aren't a professional pit crew.
No, they aren't, and they also don't have Synergy there helping them this time, so I guess they learned a lot in those 3 days fixing this car, and they just know how to put the pieces back together. By the way, when Pizzazz is driving, she screams at the other cars, out of the way, you morons!
Also, when Pizzazz heads out, once again, yeah, she has no training, as well as Jem, and no permission from anyone, I believe, to get in this car. She just does it.
Yep, no one stops her. They resist, but they don't stop her.
Because how could you when the first thing she does is cause a multitude of crashes?
Yep, but everyone's loving it. They're not nuts about Pizzazz. The crowd does not. They're not nuts about the Misfits. Of course they love Jem, though.
The announcer seems amused by all of this death and destruction, fashion and fame that Pizzazz is causing.
Par for the course.
Par for the course. It has, the yellow light has to come on. They gotta slow down. They gotta take a few safety laps or whatever as a tow truck comes onto the track to clean up all these cars.
And dead bodies.
And dead bodies and, burned corpses and things like that. As this is all being explained by the announcer, Eric is bashing his head against a pole at this development. And it's just like, oh no, here comes the tow truck to clean up all the cars that car number 007 left in its wake. And Eric goes, don't say the word wake, as we see...
I'm gonna get Mafia murdered.
As we see, Mustache Evilman and Gripper cracking his knuckles.
It takes the announcer a while to actually identify Pizzazz as being the person that is driving car 007 now. His phrasing is something like, I'm being told that it's driven by Pizzazz of the Misfits.
And he doesn't say anything like, this is probably an illegal substitution.
Nope. Well, if the other driver is dead by Pizzazz poison, then maybe it's actually perfectly fine. Well, he's dead, so someone else has to drive.
Pizzazz wrote herself in as the alternate, and nobody knew.
No one saw her giant Pizzazz signature.
She wrote over the entire contract with just Pizzazz.
And no one noticed.
And no one noticed. So Jem starts gaining on Pizzazz. Let me backtrack for a second. The green light comes back on, so they are back to racing normally. And Jem starts gaining on Pizzazz, but Pizzazz basically knocks Jem out of control towards a car that's still on the track.
Yep.
That was not cleared from the track. Somehow.
Great job putting that green light back on as if everything was okay.
End of segment 2, car crash number 2, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Segment 3 starts, and I don't know what the fuck happens here, Kristen.
Yeah, you know what? I don't either, so don't look to me for any answers.
Jem knocks the car, like, into the wall, and then kind of drives over it while it's on the wall. And the announcer refers to this as, like, holy fuck, that's a miracle. And it is.
I think the word he was looking for was nonsense.
It is nonsense, too. Jesus. He also claims that Jem is out of the race because she comes to a dead stop, but we find that it's basically a tire from that car, from the yellow car that got, like, knocked into the wall, I guess, got wedged between the spoiler and the back tire of her car.
Sure. The cartoon says it happened, so...
Well, the cartoon doesn't say that her wheel is stuck. I know, like, I had to watch it, like, twice to be like, wait a minute, what just happened there? I thought I saw a tire fly away from her car, but it was a tire that was stuck, preventing Jem from going, I guess.
I guess so. It's okay, because she still wins the race later.
Eric watches all of this unfold, and it's, you know what, he probably changed the bet due to the announcer being like, and Jem is out of the race, which you would think the announcer wouldn't say that unless it was true. So Eric is like, fuck, I gotta change my bet again.
So, yeah, he has to shimmy down back to the hot dog stand to give another commission.
And Eric didn't specify who he was betting on either, by the way. It was just, hey, need to change my bet again. And Harry's just like, sure. And then just hands him
knew.
Yeah, he hands him a hot dog bun with a receipt in it as Eric hands him a wad of cash.
They always come crawling back.
Jem heads back into the pit area, and everyone's like, wow, what the hell happened out there? That was weird, but hey, at least you're okay.
And she's like, I need to win.
Yeah, Jem hugs Rio, and Pizzazz is still, like, smoking everybody, and Rio's even like, okay, well, hey, race is over, you did your best, and she's like, nope.
The race isn't over until I'm dead.
Even Kimber's like, wait, the race isn't over? Because you look fucked. You look really fucked right now.
I don't think you can drive this broken car.
Damn that Jem, she's so hopeful, but we are spared another fix-em-up montage, I assume, because we get song number 3 of the evening, which is Ahead of the Game by the Misfits.
Oh, those Misfits. Song's fucking boring.
Yeah, it's a pretty middling Misfits song. I like the imagery of Pizzazz driving without a helmet suddenly.
She doesn't need one.
Her skull is thick enough to... It's got that dark matter inside of it, that devil energy.
Absolutely. This song is basically bragging rights set to chess and card game imagery, the song.
I don't know what's going on with that, considering this is, it's a car thing.
I don't think you could be ahead of the game in board games.
No, that's what chess would all be about, right? Like, trying to make sure you're one step ahead of your opponent.
I guess so, but that's not in the same meaning as it is in, like, actual racing.
No, it is not.
That's, like, mentally and speed-wise.
They're getting their metaphors mixed up here in this song.
Yeah, well, I don't think Pizzazz cares.
Pizzazz nearly runs over Jem, like, 5 times in this song as well. The track, like, turns into a checkerboard at one point, and the road becomes playing cards.
She says something about Ace of Spades. You wrote down Ace of Space in your note.
Oh, I did write down Ace of Space. I saw the sign.
Thing.
It opened up my eyes. I saw the Ace of Space.
Whoa!
That was by Ace of Base, I'm sorry. So yeah, there are chess pieces all falling around Jem, and an Ace of Space card falls on top, and it makes Jem trapped in like a weird board game cage, which for some reason reminds me of Batman. I don't know why. I don't think it has any sort of connection to Batman. It just seems
Scarecrow.
Scarecrow, sure. Perfect.
That's how I rationalize it.
It's not a very effective cage either, because it looks like Jem can kind of slip through.
Well, this isn't happening.
Yeah, you're right. At this point, it's not happening, so it doesn't matter if the cage is effective or not. Jem could just be standing there and pretend that she's in a cage and it'd just be like, it's a music video, fuck it. And that's it. This is another really short song. It's just sort of, that's all the imagery that it provides is Pizzazz driving, then the board game shit, and then she drives past Roxy and Stormer, really close, like nearly clipping Stormer's ankle, it looks like.
And Pizzazz just keeps going, gotta stay ahead. Of
the game.
Like that. I don't remember how the song goes at all.
Ahead of the game, you gotta stay ahead of the game.
Gotta keep your head in the game.
Gotta keep your head in the game.
Yeah.
So Jem gets back in her car at this point, and Rio is even like, are you gonna die out there? Because...
And she goes, yes!
Jem puts a hand on Rio's cheek when she does this as well, and Rio's like, I don't want you to go out there, you're gonna fucking die. And Jem drives away, and her glove slips off, so it's still in Rio's hand as she drives away.
They don't have a perfect relationship, Joe.
No, God knows how many laps she's behind at this point. They mentioned that she's behind by 1 lap after a certain point, but...
Yeah, maybe Pizzazz burned some time doing sick donuts on the track.
I mean, there are other cars still in the race, but yeah, it's...
That's how she took the other ones out.
Just doing donuts until they died. We have the announcer...
Lightning! Oh, grease lightning!
oh God.
Help!
Help.
Kaneki, no! Don't go out there, Kaneki. The Misfits don't play around.
Don't know. Pizzazz opened the door and she hit the driver's head with it. Now she's gonna have to race.
Wait, is Pizzazz Danny?
Hey, up your nose with a rubber hose. The Misfits.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was doing Vinnie Barbarino.
Yeah, that wasn't a Grease quote.
I've never seen Welcome Back Kotter, Kristen.
Neither have I.
Alright, anyway. We have the announcer saying, never in the history of the Indy 500 have I seen such an incredible comeback. Fuck you, Roger Slifer. Fuck you, man.
Come on. This is ridiculous.
Even Roxy and Stormer are cheering on Jem at this point, it looks like. Or they could be cheering on Pizzazz to beat Jem. I'm not sure. It looks like they're cheering Jem.
It seems like they're pretty excited about the drama, at the very least. So, because Pizzazz is so far in the lead, Jem goes, Synergy, help me cheat!
At least she cheats in an entertaining way.
That's true. We go into the car cockpit of Pizzazz's car, and a miniature Pizzazz, riding on a tiny guitar, shows up. And she's like, hey, Pizzazz, why don't you play fair? And Pizzazz goes, who are you? And the tiny Pizzazz goes, your conscience. And Pizzazz goes, I don't have one of those.
And then she swats at it like it was a fly.
Yep, she does not even care that it has her face. She's like, get the fuck away. But it does distract her, because I imagine having a small version of yourself riding a guitar is very distracting when you're driving.
Yes, this gives Jem the edge to pull in front of Pizzazz, but Pizzazz still... There's 5 laps left in this race, and Pizzazz is still ahead by, at the very least, 1 lap.
Yep, but we skipped 4 of those laps until Jem is right behind Pizzazz.
Yeah, Eric goes to visit Harry again, because he's like, oh, fuck, Jem's gonna win. And Harry even informs Eric, oh, sorry, too late. And Eric doesn't listen, perhaps, and just gives Harry his entire wallet, which looks like a shitty...
Fix it! Fix it, fix it, fix it!
Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it!
Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it!
And Harry's just like, here, Eric, have a hot dog!
So for his whole wallet, Eric gets 1 hot dog.
Well, he probably didn't have any money left in there.
1 hot dog USD.
Should have listened. Should have listened to him.
But yeah, Eric looks at it and goes, oh no, this hot dog is a hot dog!
Jem is apparently breaking Indy 500 speed records, the same speed
Of course
records
she is.
that Martino Granzetti was breaking earlier in the episode, apparently. The Starlight Special starts to, like, break down due to, like, all the stress that Jem is putting on it, I guess.
She's driving too fast, man.
And the coup de grace, the fucking killing blow here, somehow losing a tire is enough for the car to, like, flip forward and give Jem enough momentum to win the Indy 500.
Backward.
And the announcer
At
even...
some point, Martino, I'm gonna die driving your car!
The announcer even says, oh, the Starlight Special wins by a nose, or should I say a tail?
And then the car bounces like rubber.
The
for
car
a little bit.
Flips all over the place. Some people run over the barrier and grab Jem out of the car, and then the Starlight Special fucking explodes.
Yep, so that was very safe. All of it was safe.
We cut to Gasoline Alley at Car 007's pit area, I guess, or whatever, warehouse. Whatever, I don't know anything about racing. Mustache Evilman and Gripper are here. Gripper's gonna put the hands to Eric. He's gonna put him in the grip. He's gonna go grip.
Yep. Grip, grip, grip.
He's gonna go grip grap on Eric, but Pizzazz arrives driving the 007 car. You think at first she's gonna like save Eric, but no.
Yeah, the thing that Gripper is doing also is he's wrapping a crowbar around Eric's neck, so yeah, he was like literally gonna get iced, which is weird because this is not the last time that someone threatens Eric by wrapping something metal around his neck. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember. What is the other scenario?
Stormer's brother does it to him too.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but with a lamp. So we'll see that in about 8 episodes.
In some time, eventually.
It won't be too long now.
Yeah, so Pizzazz arrives, and instead of being like, get away from Eric, she's just like, Eric, you motherfucker, how could you let this happen?
So Mustache Evil Man is like, well, I guess we don't have to clean Eric up because Pizzazz is going to do it for us. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Which I will assume is either them going, Pizzazz is going to kill Eric, which seems plausible, or Pizzazz yelling at Eric and nearly running him over is more than enough punishment for losing a briefcase full of money.
Yep, Eric lives, so I guess he learned his lesson about mafia dealings.
Jem is being cheered as she's brought to the victory celebration area. And then a man is like, hey, Jem, congratulations. You're the first rock and roll star to win the Indy 500.
And then we hit the pause button because we need to talk about this.
Okay. Did some research, because when Jem wins the Indy 500 here, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Isn't she the first woman to win the Indy 500?
Yeah, you would think.
And as it turns out, all right, so 10 women have been in the Indy 500 ever. First of which being like 1970 or something. I didn't look into that fact that hard. But the best any woman has ever placed in the Indy 500 was Danica Patrick in 2009 placing 3rd, meaning that 23 years before the fact, Jem and Pizzazz both placed higher than the best a woman has ever placed in Indy 500 history.
Well, too bad for Danica Patrick. Hooray for Jem and Pizzazz.
But this dude is just like rock and roll star. First rock and roll star. I don't know if a rock and roll star has won the Indy 500 either. I didn't look into that, but that's probably very uncommon as well.
Yeah, that seems a little bit far-fetched. Jem dedicates her trophy to, I almost called him the wrong name again, Martino Granzetti.
What were you going to call him, Mario Andretti?
Yes. I actually was. That's what his name reminds me of.
Honestly, every time I tried to say Martino, I almost said Mario, but hopefully I didn't say Mario. I'm pretty sure I said Martino every time.
I don't know if I would have noticed, so hope we didn't mess that up. But yeah, she's like, oh, and Martino will be racing again next year, which she doesn't know if his physical therapy will take more than a year or not, so good job with the promises. But Mario's watching in the hospital. Martino is watching in the hospital, wearing significantly less bandages, and he's like, yay!
Yeah, he gives a thumbs up to the TV, which totally Jem can see. Jem also gets a lei for some reason when she wins. Maybe that's just a flower wreath necklace. I don't know, maybe that's just a normal thing for winning a race. I don't know.
Sure. But then Rio slides into frame and goes, do I get to kiss the victor? And the answer to that is no, because that's not your fucking girlfriend.
Jem says, you bet! And they kiss.
And then they kiss on the mouth.
And Jericho's somewhere being like, motherfucker.
And Jericho is right there being like, motherfucker.
And then we get an encore of Back in Shape, and that's the end of the episode.
Woohoo.
That was Intrigue at the Indy 500, Kristen. Now, I know that you had said last week when we were doing like the little preview thing that you didn't agree with me that this was one of the dumbest episodes of Jem, but do you see where I'm coming from now?
Oh yeah, like I said, when we've had this discussion, I agree that this is one of the dumber episodes of Jem and the Holograms, but I feel like some of it doesn't have the same grading quality as something like, let's say, Renaissance Woman, which is just unbearable the entire time. Also, Culture Clash is fucking ridiculous, except for a couple of stupid things that are entertaining with Eric.
Yes, okay. All right, which Culture Class is coming up after the Gem Jam, by the way, so let's get ready for that. That'll be great.
I hate that episode so much.
No, that's the thing. Culture Clash is an episode that I dislike. I wouldn't call it dumb, though. Maybe. I might retread that ground when we go over it, but really all right, so one of my biggest problems with the episode, obviously, this could have been a really great Aja episode, I think.
Nope.
Have her be the one to, like, not give up when the car gets wrecked. Maybe suggest, like, hey, Jerica, why don't we use synergy to make a blueprint of the car? Fucking make Martino Granzetti a love interest or something, you know? Give Aja something. Fuck.
Yeah, just give her something to say.
Give her a line.
Just say something, Aja, please. Let us know you're still in there. It's like she's a walking person in a coma.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying this because I think it'd be easier for me to stomach Aja winning the Indy 500 and not Jem.
Who knows? Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Woulda, coulda, woulda, whatever. Now's the point in the evening.
That's what I said.
When we list off all of the fun contact things where you can reach us. You can find us on the Twitter machine at cwtapod. You can follow me at Octopus. That is AWKTAPUS.
You can follow me at FunnyGirlTM, like trademark.
You can find us on the iTunes, on the SoundCloud, on the Stitcher Radio. Leave a rating, give a review, do whatever the hell you feel like. Reach us Gmail, cwtapod@gmail.com, where you can tell us about how you, as an untrained professional, can win the Indy 500 and all of the sexual undertones and I'm coming from behind.
Both of those, the same topic in one email, intertwined perfectly. Again, MLA format.
Next week, Kristen, is part 1 of our last two-parter of this season, which is a mouthful of a sentence. It is the Gem Jam, which is, if I remember correctly, it's a lot like the music awards, where it's kind of like orphan-focused.
I think so. I'm pretty sure this is the two-parter where we got some orphan subplot and a lot of discount celebrities.
A lot of Lena Lerner.
A lot of Lena Lerner. There are other ones too, but Lena Lerner is the one that stuck out to me.
Christy Marks really likes her, like, orphan angle episodes, doesn't she?
I guess, like, it isn't kind of better for them to still show up every single episode instead of just, like, kind of intermittently getting their own episodes. Like, they were in Island of Deception, even though it was just the beginning, so forget that they're there. They're still a present element in this cartoon.
Yeah. Isn't it weird to think that a character like Ashley has had more plot relevance than someone like Aja?
That is kind of sad.
Well, whatever.
Now, I just keep feeling worse for Aja.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell on how badly Aja's been having it. So, you know what? We'll talk about the Gem Jam when we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. That should do it for this week's Swatage. For the Can We Talk About podcast, my name is Joe.
I'm Kristen.
And join us next week where we will talk about some more Gem and the Holograms.
Checks in the Gem Jam.
Gems in the Check Gem.
Gem in the Gem Gem.